2, 1, let's jam.
To another edition of Tell Me a Joke, the guy out of Chasing the Dream. I'm your host of Maniacal, Menace, say the whole thing like a pimp named Slickback. And today, I got the vibrant, the pretty-eyed, the poet, the sensation herself, the one with the name that I love saying every time, Sarah Tonin. Oh, what's up, Sarah?
Hello, hello. Thank you so much for having me here.
You're welcome. Oh, this is good. It's good to see you. It's a nice day, and it is very weird to say that we are here at Avant Garden on a Thursday.
Definitely. It feels great. The sun is out. I'm just like, I just want to sit here and just tan.
Yeah, it's not a bad day. Like, it's not as hot as it could be. Like, because we know it's gonna get hotter. Because it's just the beginning. It's just the beginning of the terrible heat that Texas can bring. But,
yes.
You know, I'm glad that we got to pick a good day. These birds is wilding though. It's always something. It's always something, but they ain't gonna be. They're just gonna enjoy the conversation now.
They know we're famous. They want our autograph.
Sarah, so you are New Orleanian. You was born there. You left at the age of 4. So you've been in Texas since then.
I have.
Okay. So how do you like Texas?
I miss New Orleans.
Okay, yeah, all right, samesies, because I'm the same. I'm like, New Orleans, I mean, Texas is nice. I do enjoy Texas. I don't want to live back in New Orleans.
Amen.
Right, but I do miss it, because there's so many things that, like, you can't do here that you can do there, and it's like, well, why not? Like, I never, you know, Texas is different. Texas is Texas, but, you know, we all do our thing. So you are actually part of the poetry community in Texas. Like, how long have you been doing poetry for?
That's a good question. There's kind of two different answers.
Okay.
So I discovered poetry through an extra credit assignment through one of my sociology courses when I was only 18.
Really?
So almost 8 years ago. It's kind of crazy to think. So we were learning about, we were doing our unit on ethnic studies, and they showed us a poem, and I didn't even know it was poetry. So it was a video, and the poem was called To J.K. Rowling from Cho Chang by Rachel Rosds.
Yeah.
And I watched it, and I was like, oh my God, that was amazing. Like, she got so into character. You could tell that she really meant what she was saying. She added personal experience to it. And so I asked my professor, I was like, is this theater? Was that a monologue? Is this like speech and debate? What is this? And she said, oh, that was poetry. And I said, but it didn't put me to sleep. Because growing up, I always thought poetry, Shakespeare, a bunch of boring old white men talking out their asses. I'm like, I don't want to listen to that crap. Like, I'd rather do math. So then I discovered spoken word, and I'm like, okay, this is actually cool. So I would just, every single day after I got home from school in the gym, I would just go into my little corner of my room, and I would just watch button poetry.
Really?
I was like that weird kid that never went to a rave, never went to a frat party. They're like, oh, she's watching her poetry videos again. We're going to go have fun. I'm like, I'm having fun right now.
Wow, so you really got deep into it.
I really did.
But that's crazy that, like, you didn't, okay, I guess understanding what poetry is and then knowing what poetry is at the time, because like back then, I knew of poetry, but I always thought of, like, you know, Def Jam, oh, snap, oh yeah, somebody with a black turtleneck, you know, with a spotlight on them in a round somewhere, just speaking some haikus, and I'm like, that's cool, but you know, that's not nothing I want to go watch.
Right.
Until, like, I actually got more into doing entertainment, and then I was like, oh, okay, so I knew a few people down in New Orleans that actually did poetry, and I was like, oh, this is nice. Like, I've always wanted to express my words. Like, at one point I used to rap, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm rapping, I'm making beats and shit. This is what I'm gonna be doing. And then that fell by the wayside. That, you know, there's a whole bunch of ideas that come into this head, and it's like, all right, let's see where we can go with this, but you know, they don't stick all the time.
I hear
it's
that.
just like, all right, where does this go? And so I've always had a knack for being able to put words together. So eventually I got up to where I started doing You know what? I don't think I've ever started poetry without it being comedy.
Really?
Without it being comedy poetry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, I've never got up and just wrote something and just read something serious. Like, I've had creative writing classes and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote poems for assignments and stuff. But I've never got up in front and actually did poetry that was just straight spoken word, not what you see, not the comedy thing. So now that I think about it, like that's what got me to actually wanting to do poetry, because I understood that, oh, I have something, but it ain't working in comedy at this moment. You know, it's silly, but it ain't comedy silly for me, for my liking, because I like to do really well. I don't like to get on stage and have a terrible time. Speaking of terrible times,
What's
how
up?
do you deal with like when you flub up on stage?
Let's see. I try and make a joke out of it if I can.
Yeah.
I'm not like a comedic poet, but I try and incorporate some bits of humor into my poems if I possibly can.
Yeah.
There was one particular time where I tried to push through it, and it did not work. It was actually on live stream at one, and it was my Goldilocks poem. And one of the lines is, "Provide her with her needs," and that is not what I said on that stage. I accidentally said, I don't know what was going through my mind. I accidentally said, "Provide her with nudes" on stage, and I didn't catch it. But then I hear Safi's laugh, and we all know Safi's laugh is funnier than the damn joke. And so then I hear this little giggle in the background. I was like, "Oh shit, what did I just say?" And everyone else was laughing, and I'm just like, "God, how do I pass this off?" And I just kind of froze on stage, couldn't stop laughing. But if I'm able to, I'll try and like make a joke out of it. There was one poem where I had about a friend that treated me really badly, so I was doing a poem about her, and I forgot one of my lines, and I said something like, "Oh, you make me so damn mad, you made me forget one of my lines, but you know what? Unlike you, I have a brain, so I'm just gonna improv."
And you just improv the poem on the stage?
Yeah. If I'm able to, that's what I do.
All right. That is one of the things that whenever I try to, like, I'm not a verbatim person, and memory for me, I thought would be terrible, but I'm actually pretty good at it. I guess it's the ADHD that just keeps it going. But
I hear that. I have ADHD too.
Yeah. It's like, why does this stay in here? I can't remember fucking formulas or nothing like that, and things for assignments. But this right here, because I want to. Because I like this. That's why.
That's
and
true.
So I know when I get on stage that some people don't understand that I've messed up, but in my head, I'm like, oh, I fucked that all up. Like, all of that was terrible to me, but people come up to me and like, oh man, that was good. And my way of dealing with that is beat myself up about it. This is something that I guess I have to figure a way out of. People tell me, you know, that I get ideas from other people that be like, hey, you shouldn't do that. Treat yourself this way instead of always be. But I'm always my hardest critic to myself.
Definitely.
Like, what is your? I guess what is your stance on that? Like, how do you deal with the critic, your own critics? Like, how do you deal with that yourself? Like, because I know sometimes when you get on stage, you might be like, oh, I messed that up, but like, you know, you feel terrible on the inside. How do you deal with that?
I just kind of give myself a moment and just remind myself, hey, you're a human being. That is going to happen. It doesn't matter if it's a poem you've done 2 times or 200 times. Sometimes we just have little brain farts here and there. I remind myself that every single poet has done it or will do it at some point, whether on a small stage, a big stage. I've seen it from, you know, even like big name poets. I've seen it on video. It happens. It's unfortunate when it happens because it's like, oh, dang it, or like you're really trying to impress someone.
That one time right here. I can't go back and do it again.
Oh, yes. Yeah. But I just kind of give myself, I'm like, okay, you know what? It's okay to feel bad about it. It's okay to be a little bit down about it. But at the end of the day, you're a human being before you're a poet. You're a human being before you're anything else. Yeah. And you're going to make mistakes. But as far as what I've seen from you, I've never seen you like mess up. Like every time that I've ever seen you perform, I mean, you have me like holding my stomach to the point where I'm like, I need you to get off stage so I can get some oxygen, please.
You know, I learned that from cheerleading.
Really?
I was a cheerleader in high school and in college. So Like, that was one of the things that was like, man, these people don't know what you're about to do. As long as you keep smiling or bring it on also with the Vaseline on the mouth. So you always, Vaseline on the teeth, so you always keep that smile open. And so I keep that in my head to where it's like, as long as you can keep going, the stumble is fine. Like, if you keep going, people ain't knowing that you're messing up. So I'm like, oh, okay. You know, but I gotta keep telling myself that, because like most of the time people's like, hey man, that was nice. He's like, okay. But in my head I'm like, so that's one of the mantras that I'm like, hey man, they don't know.
Exactly.
They don't know it's still impressive.
Right.
You know, so it's like, oh, okay. All right. Me and these demons, we fighting though. It's always back and forth. It's always back and forth. What is your memory process?
My memory process?
Yeah, how do you memorize? Like, where? Okay, let's start this. Where do you like to write? What do you like to write about? And how is your memory?
Let's see. As far as where I like to write, it's kind of a paradox because I don't do well writing in my own home because I'll get distracted by Grey's Anatomy. So I have to be out somewhere. The problem is that I don't write well sober. And I can't go get drunk at Starbucks. I mean, I could, but they probably would frown upon that. Like, my favorite place to write is Starbucks, but I have to be either drunk or high to do
Pre-game.
it.
You got to pre-game before you get there. Okay,
exactly.
I feel you.
I just like bring like a shot of vodka, order one of those like peach teas or something like that. Just mix it, go outside. They don't know.
Hot toddy. Okay.
Exactly. So I usually like to write at like a coffee shop or just somewhere where I can be outdoors. I do my best work when I'm in nature, when I feel grounded. I usually like to write about my perspective on things. So I don't really have a lot of poems that are very much like, this is who I am and this is how I'm feeling. It's more about, this is my perspective on this idea. So I write a lot about human relationships, human connection. Mental health would be one of my favorite topics. So stuff like that. And then what was the third question again?
Oh, your memory.
My memory. So I wish my memory was better than it actually was.
Yeah.
I would think that like because I love poetry so much, you know, I would be able to memorize it immediately. And unfortunately, that's not the case.
It's not the case. Oh man, it's not the case.
I unfortunately am not one of those people that can just grab it and go. So I will have to rehearse it over and over and over with the phone, with the iPad, with the piece of paper.
Yeah.
And then by the time that I can do it without thinking about the words, by the time that I can literally just get on stage and be performing it with the choreography, with the emotions, with the facial changes, but my brain is somewhere completely different. That's how I know I've got it down. So I can be on stage doing the best poem of my life, and in the back of my head, I'm like, I could really go for some Whataburger right now. Like, that damn buffalo chicken sandwich came back. That's all I want right now. And I'm over here doing this damn poem. Like, when I can go completely somewhere else in my head, that's how I know I finally got it.
Truly, as you know that you're an artist, when you just point out that it's not just the poem that you're reciting, it's also the motions, the choreography, everything else that goes into it, just so that memory can be there.
Right.
Like I, from time to time, I used to, and I noticed that this helped. I just wanted to try different things, depending on what helps with memory. And I used to dance. I used to be in a dance crew in college, and so I know that muscle memory is a thing. So I was like, well, all right, if I can get this muscle memory down, what if I recite my poem as I work out?
That is so smart.
Yeah, so I started doing curls and started reciting my poem in my head. And because I flail a lot with my hands and everything, it made it like 10 times quicker. And I'm like, oh, okay, because like me curling is just kind of like me doing my arm motions and whatnot. But also going over it in my head, it's like, it's sticking with certain movements that as I memorize. So in my head, I think of memorization as homework, and I don't like homework.
Same. I never did mine. How I got through college, I don't know.
Oh my goodness, I fucking stopped. I was like, I won't do this no more. But so in my head, I don't look at it as memorization. I look at it as something fun that I get to present to people as soon as I get it, though.
Oh, that is a complete game changer right there. Oh my gosh.
So I kind of tricked my brain to where it's like, oh, you're not doing homework. You're doing something that's about to wow people pretty soon. As soon as you can get it, as soon as you get it, you're good. You can go take it out. You can take it out in the street. Like it's like I'm inside building a little mechanism or a robot, but nobody can't see it yet because it's not done. But once it's done, I get to bring it to everybody, and everybody be like, oh wow, and that's fun. I like to think of it that way because if I think of it as like, oh, I gotta do this, or I gotta go home and study. Yeah, I'm like, I'm an adolescent. Like when it comes to that, I'm not listening to myself telling me to go study. I never did that. I studied 5 minutes before I got to get on like before I got to go to school, or 5 minutes before the test. That's when everything sticks. Yeah, exactly.
It's fresh in your brain. I remember there was one time where we did the WALPS qualifier this year, and it was my first time doing it.
What is that?
The Women of the World Poetry Slam. So I didn't make it to the big stage, but I did make it to the qualifier, and I remember I was so excited. And Safi tells me after the qualifier, he said, "Sarah, that was the best I've ever seen you slam." And what he didn't know, and what he's probably not going to know unless he listens to this, is that was the most unprepared I have ever shown up to a slam in my entire life. I made last minute changes. I took a 3.5 minute poem and chopped it the hell down to make it a 2-minute poem.
Right.
I made so many different changes. There was one that I think I wrote it like on the back of my hand. I was kind of trying to like do the hand motion. I'm like looking at my hand at the same time. And he was like, "That's the best I've ever seen." And I was just like, oh my God, maybe I should show up unprepared more often. I was like, is this an ADHD thing where like I just show up at the last minute and then I wow everyone, but then I memorize something, and then at that point I'm like a robot. Maybe it was the adrenaline or something, because I don't get nervous going up there.
You don't?
I don't.
Ever?
Nope. I'm not afraid of public speaking.
Oh, shit.
I actually like public speaking. Is that weird?
Yeah. Oh, wow, that's awesome. You do have a command of the stage when you get up there.
Oh, and thank you.
It is very comforting. Like I like, because you don't, from just afar, you're like, oh, she's okay, that's, but when you get up there, it's like, oh, I'm here. Hey, all right. Yes, I am listening. And like then you tell a relative story that either deals with like your personal issues or with a friend, and it's like, we friends? I've been knowing you, huh? Like, oh snap! Like I feel as if we've hung out together after you recite a poem of yours. I'm like, man, it feels like I really know her now. You're so detailed, but you're so precise about what you like to speak on, and it captivates me every time. I'm like, all right, Sarah. That's why those are people that stand out to me. Like, you see poets, like everybody, especially out here, everybody's really good.
Definitely,
like everybody's really good. But you see those outliers that stand the fuck out, and it's like, yo, this is awesome, and I want you to rub off on me. That's what I want. I want you to be infectious real quick, and just give me a little bit of what you got, because I like it. It's like, this is amazing. Yeah, it's good to be in being entertained in both realms of comedy and poetry. Like, you get to see the dynamics of how people actually work and how they, how they go about their art. So like, to say that you never get nervous that's awesome.
Thank you.
I've never been able to get to a stage like maybe like 5 minutes before or 20 minutes before, I'm cool. But like when it's time, like I know my name is about to be called, and then that's when the nerves hit.
Gotcha.
And it's like, how am I about to do this? Like, how am I don't know if I can say words at this moment. But then when I get up there, the other person takes over, and it's like, don't worry, I got this. And it's like a flip switch on. Did I say that? Right. A switch flips on. There we go.
I didn't even catch that.
On.
I was like, that sounds right.
I was like, this is sounded right in my head, but yeah, a switch flips on, and then boom, you got this guy. But you are just always that person. Like, you are that person on and off stage. Like, you found your poetry voice, and that's awesome. Like, it took me a minute just to find my comedy voice, and like I think I finally got it.
You do.
Thank you. But with poetry, there's so many personas and personalities that I feel that I like to take over, depending on what I'm talking about, because I have a wide range of silly shit to mention. It's just like, all right, but depending on what I'm talking about, I definitely have to kind of like change my personality. Like it's like I had one poem about grandmothers. You know, I'm more soft and subtle when I go ahead and mention that. But I also have the poem about bidets. And exactly. So it's she's doing it. Yes.
That is one of my favorite poems. That and the eyebrow one.
Yes.
Like, anytime I let someone see me without my eyebrows, I got 2 words for you. Happy Halloween. And I'm an eyebrow fanatic. So, like, the first time I heard you do that poem, I didn't even realize it was you. And then I didn't see you for like 3 years. So I remember I was drinking something, and all I hear is, "Where are you going with these eyebrows?" And I like spit my drink out. Who is that?
English class is what helps me with things like that. With they always say the first sentence has to be the most captivating sentence.
Definitely.
Just to bring your audience in. So I've taken that with me on the comedy stage, and it works here with poetry. And like to be able to see y'all and to just soak up everything, because I haven't been doing poetry as long as I've been doing comedy. Like I've been doing poetry a lot less. I think I've been doing comedy for about 11 years. I'd say poetry about 4. But like it has been a learning curve, like just to see, because there's still out here it's different when it comes to an audience. Like out here the audience is very giving.
Oh, yes.
And yeah, you feel the love from that. You feel their energy. Other places, sometimes it's not that. Sometimes it's grimy. And I'm like, this is poetry. Why is this so grimy right now?
Exactly. It makes you want to just like run off stage and be like, am I the problem or are you the problem? Like,
yes. Yeah. And so, like, to come here and be like, man, I hope, is it like this everywhere? I've been to LA and they have certain places that are like this, but LA is so spread out. It's not a big community unless you really rock with one person,
right?
Or a group of few people. But it's still LA. It's just like so many people out there. So how do you know who to gravitate towards? Yeah, but who inspires you?
So many people.
Oh, good.
So many people. I would say that when I first started poetry, my biggest inspirations would be like Omar Hallman, because he does where he'll incorporate a lot of comedy into his poetry, but it's not like comedic poetry.
Yeah.
It always has a serious meaning, but he's going to make you laugh first to kind of give you a little bit of that relief, and that's what I like to do as well. Neil Hilborn, Melissa Losado Oliva, Phil K, Sarah K, and then now that I'm here, I would say that I am inspired a lot by Poetry or Die, so a lot of people in that community. Amir Safi, of course. I remember the first time I saw a poem by him, I didn't even realize it was him when I came here, because it was way before I even found Right About Now, and I was at school, and it was during the year that I went through a level of hell I did not know humanly possible, and that's what kind of led me to poetry. That's a whole other story. But I was in the computer lab finishing up an assignment, and my friend Tracy's like, you got to see this poem about Whataburger. I was like, oh shit, I'm like addicted to Whataburger. Give it to me. And so then I came here and I was like, wait a minute, that's the guy doing the Whataburger. Oh my God, that's him? It didn't even dawn on me. I was like, dude, you're like hella famous. So yeah, Safi's been a real big inspiration. Kanai especially has been a huge inspiration to me. You, of course. And honestly, just so many people. Like, I could name them all, but we'll be here until my 30th birthday. And I'm 25.
That's good. This is a big community out here. And to say that you can just rattle off names like that speaks a lot about poetry. Because every time I think about it, what's your profession?
My profession?
Yeah.
Right now I do human resources until poetry kicks off full time. Then that's going to be my profession.
And see, in my head, I am like, man, because I know what it takes to be a comedian, and I'm like, yo, this is a lot. So for the poetry, and I know it can pop off because I've seen it for so many people, but I'm like, man, the bar is set even higher when it comes to try to like make it in the industry of poetry, and I'm like, man, but the faces and the talent that I see out here, I understand it's all gonna start trickling and just boom. Eventually, we're gonna be there.
Yes, I'm ready for that day.
Like no matter, as long as we keep going, it's gonna happen.
Right.
Just because of the talent and the rubbish that is out there now, it's like, oh, just wait till you see my friends. You know?
Yes.
I can't wait. Like, as soon as all this gets noticed and starts to pop off, I'm like, okay, see, this is what we've been telling y'all about. I don't understand why y'all, because it's, you got a 15-second clip of something silly that, nobody really worked on. But we got these people that's out here actually putting the time in.
For sure.
Why do you do it?
So there's a bit of a story behind it. You mind if I tell?
Go for it.
So I would say I kind of started dabbling a little bit in writing poetry when I turned 20. So that would have been my junior year of college. And then the way that I realized that I had a talent for it was I had entered in this poem that I wrote, and it was the very first poem I ever wrote. And it was for a girl that I liked that unfortunately didn't like me back. But it was like I liked her, but she liked this boy, but he liked this boy. And then there was someone that liked me. And it was just like a whole triangle of like people being liked by people that didn't like them back and liking people that didn't like them back. But I wrote it for her anyway. She never saw it. But I was like, I'm just going to keep this. It's called I Want to Love You Like a Broke College Kid, inspired by Asia Sampson. He has a poem called 90s Love. Yeah. So then I heard that there was a women's competition at my school, and I was like, oh, I'll just enter it. Was not expecting any outcome whatsoever other than participation. I just wanted to understand how it worked. It was my very first slam, 3rd overall. Yep, my very first competition. So I realized, oh, I've got this real talent for it, but I never really did much with it. I just kind of was like, okay, that's cool. I was more busy with school and stuff like that and work. And then my final year of college, which was the year before I started coming to poetry, I went through some shits. And I guess that's kind of like how we all got on that stage. Is like anyone you ask them, like, why do you do it? They're like, well, I've been through some shit and I need somewhere to put it.
Yes, definitely.
It's like I got a bunch of shit. That stage is the toilet. Okay, that was a bad metaphor. Bad metaphor.
I liked it. But they're going to get all types of metaphors on this show.
Oh, God, yes. I could come up with them all. But during that year, I went through some trauma, capital T. And it just kind of seemed like a domino effect. Where have you ever had that season of your life where it's like everything's going so good and it takes one thing to mess it up and then everything goes to shit?
My shit is the rule of threes. It's always something. It's first thing that happens, second thing that happens is a little greater, and then there's a third thing that happens. It's like, I should cry now. I could probably cry. This is okay to cry now, right?
Yeah, it's like, okay, everybody clear.
Yeah. I'm about to explode. The domino effect has ended, and now I must get it all out.
Yes. I'm like, I'm a Cancer, but I don't want anyone knowing that. I don't want anyone seeing my emotions. So after that year, it was more so, I actually read somewhere recently where it said something along the lines of the way that you are affected by your trauma is determined less by the trauma itself and more by how alone that you felt during that trauma. And that would explain it, because I look back on what I went through and I'm like, I mean, yeah, it was bad, but it wasn't anywhere near the level that other people have gone through. So I kind of felt like for a while I didn't have a right to complain. I didn't have a right to talk about it. But a lot of it was that a lot of people that I thought really had my back just turned their back on me. And of course, it's so cliche. You find out who your true friends are when you go through stuff and yada, yada, yada. But it's real. It's real. Like, there are so many things I could say about that, but it got to the point where I was just stuck in survival mode for so long, where it's like I used to be the person that was super outgoing, making friends everywhere I went.
But now it's like, can I trust you?
Exactly, yeah. It really affected my ability to connect with people. I even talked about this on Instagram yesterday, where, it's one thing when you're happy and you're doing great and you feel so loved by everyone around you, but then it's like when you're going through stuff, people don't know how to talk with you. They like tiptoe around eggshells, and I'm like, we can still have a conversation. I'm depressed. I don't hate you. Like, Jesus Christ. And sometimes it just takes one person to say, hey, are you okay? And if not, what can I do? We are so quick to say things like, oh, I'm sending you love during this time, or reach out anytime. But are we reaching out to them? Are we saying, hey, can I come drop something off for dinner for you? Do you want to go for a drive and just talk? Like, it was the loneliness that really got me, not as much as the trauma. And so when I left that environment, I realized something that, yes, you need to leave the environment that is making you sick in order to heal, but simply leaving the environment does not equal healing. The amount of work that you have to do afterwards is immense. So I moved back home with my parents. I got my degree. Yeah, communication studies, minor in sociology.
Come on. Congrats.
Thank you very much. I got my first job about 2 months later. I was working in recruiting. And then I was kind of like, I still had all that anger, and I thought once I get the job, I'll be happy. Once I'm no longer in that environment, I'll be happy. Once I'm away from those people, I'll be happy. And it was always like, I will be happy when this external thing occurs. And it's like, baby girl, you got to deal with the internal shit.
You got to deal with it now. Yeah.
Yeah. So I re-enrolled in therapy once my insurance kicked in.
Hello.
And then I heard about Right About Now from a coworker, and I was like, oh, that sounds like what I was doing at school, but it's more frequent and it's a bigger stage.
Yeah.
So I came here in August of 2019. It was pouring rain, and everything told me to turn back. And I'm like, I'm making it there if it kills me.
I gotta go.
And at that point, I was just watching. I was like, I'm going to check out the venue, see what it's like before I actually get on stage. And I was like, yeah, I'm coming back. So by the time October rolled around, I was coming pretty regularly, and it gave me a creative outlet. It wasn't just like a fun activity. It wasn't just an opportunity to make friends. It was a way for me to get all that shit out of my body, all that shit out of my soul, out of my heart, and just get it out. It was so cathartic. It became a
passion after that. It's not a hobby anymore.
Right.
Yeah. And it's so strange to see, because you're not a normal person. You're not. Everybody else that doesn't get up on the stage and do what we do, they're normies. And that's how I look at it as, because they don't understand the energy that we intake whenever we go up on stage, because there's so many people that are giving us all types of energy. And depending on what we give them back, it could be a wicked day, you know? And
oh, yeah.
I was asked this yesterday by Will Loden. He was like, man, I can count on my hand how many times I performed happy.
Really?
Yeah. Meaning that he's never 100% whenever he's on stage. It's always something, but he knows that this is my passion, this is what I do. Even though that I'm going through things, I'm gonna get on stage. You know, and I was like, damn. You know what? I can't tell you the last time I was on stage 100% happy.
Honestly, same.
Yeah, and it never dawned on me, because I'm like, you know, I'm always a chipper person, but I could think about the days where I was like, man, I'm having a shitty ass day. This is shitty, the week's shitty, the month's been shitty, but I would still go up and get on stage. But that didn't mean I was happy. That just meant because I needed to work on things, and this is what's gonna make me feel better. Yeah, and I was like, wow. And it opened my mind to a whole bunch of, I'm like, my thinking and thought process about it. It's like, as long as I can get through it, I'll be okay.
Yes.
Like, I know I'm not always gonna 100% be happy and shit, but just like working out, as long as you get through it, you feel a lot better in the end.
Definitely is.
You know, this is like lessons that I learned just along the way of living. You know, it's like, oh, okay. You know, ain't nobody told me this, but it's like, this is probably something I should write down in my book. Like, I should jot this note down. It's like the world gave me some notes, and I'm supposed to take this down. And that's the things that I have in my head. I'm like, okay, keep this for future memories, because that's good to know.
Definitely is.
Like, so how long have you been in therapy?
I started, let's see, when I was 19 in the year 2016.
That almost fucked me up for a second. I was like, wait, okay. All right, got it. Cool. All right.
All good. So that's when I started, and I kind of did it a little off and on. So for about a year, I was doing it once a week, very regularly, and then it kind of turned into, we'll do it twice a week or twice a month, sometimes once a month, depending on where I was. So now it's more of like a case-by-case basis, where she's pretty much like, yeah, you seem to have the tools that you need, but if, you know, things do get to that point, or, you know, you go through a season, it's like you're having a really hard time bouncing back, then just come back. And I'm a huge advocate for mental health. I say that I believe that every human being should go to therapy at least once in their life. Personally, I think therapy should be built into our life the same way that doctor's appointments are, dentist appointments. Like we're seeing doctor. Yeah, I agree. Okay. You know, we should just be able to have someone to talk to.
I was going to ask you, I was like, so when, because in my head, therapy is like, oh, you need to do this because you need to work things out. and you need to see this person frequently. But I'm like, how does that go? How do you go about finding a therapist? And then when you have this therapist, is this forever? Or does this stop at some point? And how you know when you can stop?
Honestly, that's a great question. I think that it's something that you and the person would have to discuss, because there can be so many reasons why someone goes to therapy, whether it's because they're dealing with, a mental illness and they're having trouble coping, or maybe they are just going through a really bad season in their life. There have been so many reasons why I've been in therapy. Like, when I started therapy, it was more so because of a trauma that I had gone through. And then at one point, I was in this horrible, horrible job. And I was literally, like, my therapy sessions were literally just me roasting my boss because I couldn't do it to his face. I think one thing that I really struggled with was the transition from college to the work world. Because I had always been the kid. I've always been the outsider, the one that just, like, never fit in. I've always been kind of a black sheep, kind of the one that does things a little bit differently. Like, she's cut from a different cloth.
Hence why they're the normies and you're the entertainer.
Exactly. But in one aspect of my life, I had always excelled, and that was academics. So I was always the kid that, like, had a very
studious.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
It's like the gifted kid with ADHD.
Hell yeah, that's awesome.
For sure, thank you. But I think, like, I was always the person that, like, I had a select few friends, but I never had a big group. I was never good at sports. I have 2 left feet, and so academics was always my thing. And I didn't have poetry as a kid. I didn't even start it until I was already an adult. So academics was always my thing. So all of a sudden, I go from 16 years of, being good at this one thing and being praised for it hardcore to... I just got stripped of my identity. Where else am I supposed to go? Now I'm an employee, and it doesn't matter how smart you are. It doesn't matter how good your GPA is. It's like they give you work, you do it.
Welcome to the world. Welcome to the working world.
Oh, God, that was so hard on me.
Oh, my God.
It was scary. I was like, oh, my God, I'm expected to be this completely different human being, and I don't know how to handle this.
The floaties are off, Right.
It's like, swim. I'm in the deep end, and someone's pushing my shoulders. I said, swim.
Right. I ain't never been. Ain't nobody taught me this part.
Exactly.
I don't know nothing about this. I'm okay, just do it. All right.
Right. Like that scene from Toy Story. Remember your training. I don't have any training.
And we get through it though. That's the crazy part about it. It's like, how the hell did I do this? Like, that's like me learning stick shift. I bought the first car that I bought, it was stick shift, and all the rest of my cars have been stick shift since then. But I never knew how to drive a stick shift before I bought a stick shift.
You just kind of learn?
Yeah. I learned by driving it home from another state. So,
oh my God.
Yeah.
You said fly, baby bird.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh.
That baby bird got to jump off the branch at some point in time, and that was the time. And I was like, ooh, learning lessons.
Kudos to you for not going splat.
Y'all, it was nerve-wracking. And I was like, because it was a point to where the battery was terrible on the car. So anytime that you would stall out, the car would shut off. And I am just getting the differentials together with the clutch and the pedal, and give it a little gas, give it a little clutch, take off the clutch, give it a little gas. That shit, my feet didn't have the feeling in them to be able to do that. Like, usually you can feel how to depress something like a button or something with your fingers. All right, I should give it this much, I should release that much. I'm clunky with my feet. I had no idea. And I'm like, and boom, my car shutting off in the middle of the highway.
Oh,
God.
I'm
trying to start it back up. I'm forgetting. I'm freaking out. I stalled out in front of a bus one time. I'm like, yo,
Bruh.
I had to get pushed to the side. There was so many things happening.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, learning curve,
Oh, my gosh, Kyle.
Yeah,
oh my
I put
God.
myself in some crazy situations that I probably could have thought a little bit harder about it and be like, hey, let's go the easy route. But I like to challenge myself. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, for me, I think it could be an ADHD thing where I'm always like, I just want to chase the high.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't think it through. Like, my biggest tattoo that is on my arm from a hyperfixation from a Disney movie was a impulse buy. I was sitting in my apartment and I was like, I'm bored as hell. Does this place take walk-ins? And now that's permanently on my body.
What did you get?
I don't know if I could show you, but if you've seen the movie Encanto, it's
Yeah.
a candle and it's big.
What? You
Yep.
have the Encanto candle on your arm?
I do. And nobody told me not to work out after the
Yeah.
candle. Nobody told me, nobody gave me discharge instructions. So they put that plastic film on me.
Hey.
I go for a run the next day.
Sweat
Ink.
all of that ink out. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh no.
It all down. I looked like Spider-Man, like
shit.
shooting ink everywhere.
Oh, no.
Got an infection that burned like hell.
Oh.
Yeah, thinking's not my thing. I'm more of like
That is
just
so
do.
impulsive.
Yes, like
wow.
oh my god, like
Is that the only tattoo?
I have 6.
Okay. Huh. Was that the first? It wasn't the first, was it?
So out of all 6 tattoos that I have, only 1 was planned. All the rest were impulsive buys.
Okay. All right. I ain't never been that impulsive when it came to tattoo. But also, I've also drawn all my own tattoos. So
It'd be like
yeah,
that.
it's like, well, this isn't impulse. This is me taking time. And yeah, just me being different. That's.
I do like your tattoos though.
Thank you. Like I want to go back and get more, but at this point in time, it's like I gotta prioritize. It's like
I hear that. Like my dad was helping me build a budget on Excel, and then I gave it back to him, and he said, "Take tattoos out of the budget." Like I was like, "I'm sorry, it needs to be in the budget. Like if I need to shop at Aldi for a little bit, or if I need to get my clothes from Walmart just so I can get this nice little
you definitely
tattoo."
gotta
Like
have it in the budget. Tattooing
Exactly.
is nowadays it's gotta be part of it because tattooing is expensive. You don't want just
is.
nothing shitty on your body. That's
Exactly.
forever.
Right.
But yeah, you definitely. I never set aside anything when it comes to tattoos. It's always impulsive, but I know what I want.
Same.
I know what I'm gonna get. But it's usually one of those times where it's like, hey, you wanna get a tattoo? It's like, man, it's random. I guess. Sure. I got some drawings. Let's see who can do what. And it's never that
Exactly.
day. It's never that day when it comes to me because it's always like, we can't draw that. It's like, oh, you want that? Man, it's gonna take some time. Man, that's some little lines. Why it's gotta be this complicated? I'm like, shit. Alright, so it's always I come back and now I'm invested in this. And now it's like, do I even want to spend the money on this shit now? Like, god damn it. Now
Same.
yeah, I'm deep invested now. I'm deep invested because I've came back, saw many people. Oh, this person can do it for you. Now I'm in it. So it's like,
Right.
I can't back down now.
At that point, it almost feels like a business proposal.
Yeah.
I'm just like, this is supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
Like, I know for me, it's like, I guess impulse was probably the wrong word because it's like, I've always known what I wanted. It's just setting aside the time has never been the
Yeah.
thing. Like, but I've got a penguin on my left shoulder that's a matching tattoo with my best friend, Ashley.
Yeah.
And I remember being so nervous about that. I lost sleep over that tiny little penguin. And then her and I was squeezing life out of her hand. And then I was like, all right, go for it. And then I hear but I don't feel anything.
Yeah.
So then I look down and I go, Big Smiley, you doing anything? And he goes, I'm done. I'm like, there's a penguin on my shoulder. So I was like, oh, that's not that bad. And then I got on each of my shoulders, the back shoulder, I have a quote from a poet from right about now, actually.
What?
Yep.
That's dope.
Yep, Jennifer Nicole and Southerly. I have on my left shoulder it says I will not apologize for existing with Jennifer's initials, and then I have I am on purpose on my right shoulder with Southerly's initial.
Come on.
Yep.
That's dope. That's keeping it in the community right there.
For
That's
sure.
Hell yeah.
I tell people, I'm like, quit with these amazing ass bars because I'm not made of money and I'm not made of skin.
Right.
Well, I guess I am made of skin,
Yeah,
but
we could just be a whole quotable walking billboard. Yes.
I'm saying, I'm
That
just
is
like,
dope.
instead of signing your books, just tattoo your quotes onto me.
Quotes are pretty dope, especially on people in certain places. It's like, oh, let me see.
Like with
Oh,
that.
that is good.
For
Yeah,
sure.
You really enjoy. Yeah. I
What
like
tattoos
quotes.
do you have?
Okay, well, all right. So this right here is my interactive tattoo. I put it up against my face, and It's the smiley Joker face.
I love it.
Yeah. It's got color in it and everything. I wanted to go and have it glow in the dark, but this hurt like a motherfucker.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so I was like, one and done, because I wanted to get one on this side, like happy, sad, like that, you know, laugh now, cry later. This took 2 weeks just for the swelling to go down.
Ooh.
And it still hurt. Like,
really?
I mean, not bad, but like you see how fat my hand is now. So, you know, and I do construction, so I had to wear a glove. I had to wear a latex glove on top. I had to have it covered and put the latex glove on, and then put my work glove on. Just so, inside a glove, just all moist, and then I had to.
And I can imagine the heat, working in the heat too, is probably not
itchy.
helping.
Oh my goodness! And then the glove barely fit because I got like 2 pairs of gloves on, and my hand is swole.
Oh my
God! So
God!
I'm like, this is, you know, I got small gloves, and this is like I got a medium-sized hand now.
Right.
This shit ain't working. And if I brush my hand up against anything. Oh my goodness.
That is a level of pain I hope nobody ever has to experience. I know all about that. Like, I went swimming. They said that you're not supposed to go swimming 4 to 6 weeks after a brand new tattoo, but my dumbass got that in June because I'm like, oh, happy early birthday to me. So then my friends throw me a birthday party. They don't tell me what we're doing. And they threw me a pool party.
Gotta get in.
I was like, okay, well, I love y'all so much and I appreciate the sentiment, but do y'all understand what I just did? So I got in the pool anyways after only 3 weeks, and that was
keep your arm out the water? Or you like, fuck it?
I just went right in. We have been drinking, we have been smoking. I'm like, I'm getting in the water. I'm getting in the water, and you know what? If I go to the hospital, I go to the hospital.
Is this with the Encanto candle? Is that the one?
Yeah, and it takes up a good chunk of my arm too. I was like, welcome to the world of Sarah Tonin. We write poetry and we make bad decisions. That's what we do.
Are you going to get it covered, or is like, fuck it? Are you going to get it filled in, or are you going to just leave it as the Encanto candle? Or are you going to try to like get a sleeve piece to cover it or something?
I want to get some color and like fill it in with some color.
Yeah.
But I've heard that colored ink hurts like a bitch.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard. I don't know if that's true or not.
I got color here.
This is my other one. I drew it and my brother tattooed it for me.
Oh, is that a Pokemon?
It is the Batman symbol,
But in my creation, I like to do, as you see, this little puzzle pieces.
I call this an enigma.
Ooh.
So it's like a puzzle or a riddle, and there's hidden stuff inside of it, like Arabic letters.
I approve.
Yeah, and like I like hiding shit in the, like my drawings because I do graffiti art, so I don't know if I can find it anymore, but my name's in there and shit.
Really?
Yeah.
You should not have told me that. Now I'm gonna spend the
here
rest
it
of
is.
this time looking for it.
There it is. You see the E, the L, and then the Y, and then there's a K, like right there.
Bro, I see it.
Yeah. So
You hit that good.
Yeah.
I literally would have been studying your entire arm for the next 2 hours
like
trying
an
to find
Arabic
it.
letter right there. These just did not age well. I understand with the lines, but yeah, like the guy did pretty good. He did pretty good. So yeah, there's a Jamaican flag in there, like right there. There's a Jamaican flag, and then my brother has Superman, so I'm a Batman person. So Superman, Batman.
I love that. Way to stay connected.
Right. People look at it and people are like, man, what the hell is that? I ain't never seen that before. It's because I drew it, and I don't think anybody does shit like that. So that's the only reason I do things the way I do, is just because I want to be different. I want to stand out. You know, that's why I come up with the shit that I do, and it's like, oh, okay, because I've always been a kid. It's like, oh, little small motherfucker over there. You know, it was like, well, I don't want to be lumped in with all just the rest of small people. I want to be my own small person over here. So, you know, I do things to stand the fuck out.
Exactly. You do what you got to do to make your name heard. Like,
yeah.
You know, sometimes people don't understand. It's like when you've been the odd one out or something like that, or you've been the one that just doesn't fit in with everyone else. It's like sometimes that's for a higher purpose.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you're an adult and you finally find that voice, you can understand where it's coming from. But it doesn't change the loneliness that you experienced at the time. Like, I remember being the kid that didn't want to do sports, that, you know, was more into writing, that was like, instead of trying to talk to the other kids, like the other kids got in trouble for talking, I was the one that was like, speak up, oh my God. And so when my teachers that knew me as like this quiet kid in the back, they're like, she gets on stage and does shows. I was like, yeah, but then I go into my little corner in the back of this room. I was like, I'm still that kid, just in my own special way.
I'm one of those kids, I was punished a lot, so I know what it's like to be alone. So I don't mind it. I know how to go inside my own little head and do my own little thing. So now when it comes to me actually having my own little safe space to go to, I love it. I don't care to, like, I love to be around people, and I like make people happy. People like, oh, Kyle, your smile is infectious. It makes me feel so warm inside.
It does.
Good. I like that. I can't keep giving this to y'all though. I'm gonna go back in my little nook and hide out for a little while.
Right.
Yeah.
And even if it's something that you do, I mean, that's a great quality to have, but it shouldn't be an expectation on you.
Right.
I think that for a lot of people, they see someone that has a great energy about them. They see someone that has a great aura about them, someone that's just full of light and love. They're like, oh, let me go get my straw real quick. And it's like,
oh my
calm
God.
the fuck down.
Yes, I was just
I
gonna
have a
say
whole
that.
ass poem about it too.
It's like I don't drink. You can't drink all of it. I need to go replenish. Oh my goodness. I can only give you a little bit. Why you gotta take my light? Golly.
Why can't they just use it as inspiration to find theirs? You
Right.
know, like I don't think people understand that at the end of the day, even if someone has a certain quality about them, like they're very loving and they're very bright, they're very cheerful, at the end of the day, they are human too.
Yes.
And how do you know that's not an act they're putting on?
Right.
How do you know that's not something that they mustered every ounce of energy that they had for that day just to get on that stage and make you smile, and then they get home and they're like, how did I make it without falling asleep at the wheel?
How? Yes.
Like, I know that all too well. Like, I remember being that person that I was always told, like, oh, I love your energy. You have such a great energy about you. And then, when I went through a depressive episode my final year of college to the point where I almost died from it. And then, that kind of made me isolate. And then when I finally come out of that and I'm finally getting back into the world and becoming a human again, really, that was a common theme. It's like, oh, I missed that energy. I missed your energy. You didn't miss me? Where were you? You weren't calling me whenever I went quiet.
You just here for my energy?
Yeah. I'm just like, here, how about I tattoo the word energy on my fist and give you some right now?
You some.
Knuckle sandwich, you hungry?
I love it. Coming with the pun. Hell yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, gotta save our energy, man. You gotta rest. And I've learned that because coming from New Orleans and then being out here, like what I did down there compared to how I'm doing it out here, I'm like, all right, I'm not as prominent on the scene, but also my mental is nice. Like I don't. There's not a haze. I don't black out from certain things. Like I remember what I did the day before. Back then I was just drinking. Fucking wake up like, fucking 2 hours of sleep, go to work, fuck get off, and then, what's up, oh Kyle, what's happening? Here's a beer. And it's like, that one's on me. And just, and fucking 36 years of my life.
Yeah, I remember those days.
Oh my goodness. I get out here and I'm like, oh, I can take it easy? Like people are, and then like, I like the feeling that people kind of miss me as I'm like, oh man, where you been, man? I remember you. Good to see you. Oh man, good to see you back out and shit. And I'm like, yeah. I mean, I ain't really going nowhere, but I'm here. Yeah, I'm not always out. You're not gonna always see me because I'm an adult and I have adult things to do.
Yes.
I can't.
It hits you hard.
Oh, I can't. I know. I wish I could continue just to be out every day of the week. Texas is a lot further than places in New Orleans, so I can't just walk to the next place that I want to go to.
Exactly.
Out there, it was really easy. You could just hitch a ride, fucking walk to the next spot, whatever, however it was, bop, 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 just like that. Save gas. You can go for a whole week on, depending on where you're going. Probably like fill your gas tank up, however much that is. Fucking, you probably won't have to fill it up again till probably like Friday.
Damn.
Yeah, everything's
nice.
so close. Everything's so close. The furthest thing is probably like 20 minutes away. The next place is probably
that's like the closest thing.
Exactly. And it's so wild when you see them like, okay, this is new. All right, I'm not gonna be able to be everywhere. It's just I just can't. I don't want to. I be tired.
Yes.
You get older, man. You gotta get your rest in.
Oh yeah. Nowadays it's like, okay, did you take your nap before your show? Okay, well you're gonna be a cranky bitch.
Cranky motherfucker. Yeah, I be trying. I be thinking about taking naps. I believe. I'm not sure how I got home, but I think I caught a few naps on the way home, and I was like, "This is dangerous." It's like shit.
It's like, oopsies. Okay, I know what I need to do.
Right. I wasn't sleep, but I was driving slower than a motherfucker, just listening.
Yeah.
I'm like, is this a 30? Oh, it's a 45. All right, let me speed the fuck up. God damn, I don't even want to drive fast. I'm so tired. You know,
I hear that.
Like, let me just. But yeah, I've been learning to take my time. Like, hey, you can do all this shit for the world, man. That shit's gonna come. Like, take your time, because you only got one of these, and you don't want to burn that shit up. Don't burn the life up. Like, you know, you got that energy, that battery energy cell during the day, and you know, if you don't recharge that motherfucker, you only got so much at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Like,
That's
don't
a poem.
burn it up. Yeah. Oh, that's good. All right,
That is a
Sarah.
poem.
Workshop.
That is a poem right there. So, for you, other than, you know, taking your time to yourself, what are some other things that you do to preserve your mental health and maintain a status?
I smoke a lot.
I hear that. I hear that.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I do. And often from time to time, like a few months, like I give it a few months, but I go on an acid trip. Like, I take a good dose of acid, and I sit at the house and I think about things. And I just want to see. I try to think about where I want to be, and like as I progress with my profession, and that's such a good time. Like, I do it every so often. When I do, I have to make sure that the home is, everything is how I need it. Like, I need that safe space. I need to be clean. I don't need to see any clutter. I need all the clutter gone. I need things to be cleaned up, and then boom, I go ahead and have my time, and I sit down, and I'll be ready for the world after that. Yeah. Also, every Thursday, me and my friends from work, we have a recharge.
Really?
And basically, we after work, we go out to the forest and we smoke.
That sounds heavenly.
Oh, it is amazing. I'm gonna show you pictures after this of where we been.
Yes,
and
please.
Yes, it is a good. It's like just to be like reconnect with nature. We saw deer today. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Oh. It was so, cause like we've been walking these trails for a minute now, like for about the past few months, every Thursday for about the past 2 months lately, and so it's just like, you know, we've never seen any wildlife out there. This time we actually saw deer.
Oh
like,
my gosh.
the deer were like right there, and I got pictures and everything. I was like, oh shit. Okay, there's nature out here, and everything just felt connected. I get off. I feel like all of the weekends and the week's woes just kind of like, it'll be all right, man. You know, they just, and I, you know, come back to reality the next day and just be like, all right, deal with the world. I'm ready to deal with whatever is coming. I feels like that is my battery recharge right there. My Duracell battery, like that's the C battery. The daily on, I'm working with, you know, I got like a AAA because I'm small. I see other people will be AA. I'm AAA, you know, so you gotta be careful. So I gotta make sure you recharge, man. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I wish a lot of other workplaces will like incorporate that, including the smoking.
Yes, that would be helpful, because I mean, just I see the things that I've built an Amazon for people, and like I worked at the Amazon warehouse, and not Amazon Academy, but they're all kind of the same, kind of sort of, when you're in there and you just see the people, and it's just like, you look like little drones, just. Just, oh, you got to do this. Oh, you got to do that. Doof, back and forth. Just late hours and shit, working night shift. And it's like, you don't do nothing else besides this. This is your life. Like, to see somebody work night shift, like, that is a different, that's a different world all its own.
God.
Like, your body does something different when you acclimate to a night shift. And just to see those people just working like worker ants, just like, going through the motions,
Because like mentally, it seems like your body should be fucked up. Like you should be asleep, but you're actually out doing strenuous work right now.
Right.
And you just come back and they working 12 hours and shit. And I'm like, this ain't good.
Yeah.
I did that for like 6 months. I made a lot of money, but I was like, I couldn't get accurate. It took me at least 3 months just to get back to like normalcy. Like I'm like, I don't want to do that no more. That was fucking terrible. And what that does to your mental, I'm like, you motherfuckers are stuck like that. Like this is what you do. Like you don't switch over to days, nothing. This is your life. I'm like, you rarely get to see people because your time is at night. Like what are you doing on the weekends? Trying to catch up on sleep. I'm like, and most of them work through the weekends overnight. I'm like, I can't.
That's making me depressed just thinking about that. I've never even done it before.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, so that's why I continue to do what I do. That's why I continue to write. I continue to keep performing because I'm like, I don't want to be this.
Yes.
Because you can easily be that. And it's not bad. Not saying that it's a terrible life or anything. It's just like, that ain't in us.
Oh, yeah.
That ain't in us at all. No, we're too creative for that. Like,
exactly. Like, even at work, sometimes I have trouble concentrating where, like, even in my notebook that I had, like, my passwords and everything to all of my logins.
Yeah.
In that notebook is so many haikus. And I'm like, I know one day if my boss picks up that notebook, which she would never do, but I'm like, if she picks up that notebook and sees what I wrote in there, I'm collecting unemployment checks quick. Because, like, it always comes to me while I'm at work. Like, one thing I'll do is if I get kind of overwhelmed or I'm like, I've been staring at this damn screen so long, my eyeballs are going to disintegrate out of my head. Then I'll go for a walk outside. And my bosses, they're so lenient. They're like, sometimes I'll be gone for 30 minutes, an hour at a time. They're like, oh, you're back. Okay, I got something for you. They're so chill.
Nice.
I love it. But I remember one of my poems actually came from a nature walk where I was like, I take inspiration from a lot of the weird things that happened to me, like when I got a nail infection because the nail salon messed it up. They didn't seal it right.
Oh, shit.
So then I take off my nails and I'm like, why are my nails green? I thought it was like the paint or something, so I'm scrubbing it off and I'm like, that's underneath my nail. That's disgusting.
Shit.
I'm such a girly girl.
Did you feel it?
No, thankfully, but I looked at it and I'm like, it looks like the creature from the lagoon. It looks like moss. It was nasty.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, how about I make a metaphor? And sometimes I don't even think about it. It just happens.
Yeah.
Like, I'm over here like, okay, I'm treating this nail infection. I noticed it immediately. I'm going to get taken care of immediately. And I'm like, well, what happens when you go through a depressive episode and you try and ride it out and the next thing you know, you haven't seen your friends in a month? Oh, thank you, brain. So I'm over here and I'm like, I'm supposed to be training the new girl and all I want is the new girl to go away so I can write this poem. Like, when I have a poem in my head and I can't get it out and someone's trying to speak to me, I'm just like, in the back of my head, I'm just like, no offense, but you need to walk away. You need to walk away.
I can't. Yeah, I definitely.
Yes.
I exclude myself. I'm like, yeah, hey, ho, because if I forget, I'm gonna go mental on everybody.
Yes.
So let me do this. It's right here. It's gonna be quick. Let me just get it out.
Yes.
Because if I don't, I'm gonna have a fit.
Same.
Oh my God.
I will throw like a little adult tantrum.
Yeah.
Someone stick me in a rage room with a mallet.
Yeah, no, and people don't understand. We're like, why are you so mad? You don't understand. I had some gold just now. That could have been a life or death poem you just fucking made erase from my head because you coming with this extra shit. Oh, a friend told me.
What's up?
He was like, whenever you writing something, sit there and write it at that moment. Like, don't wait. Don't leave the area because once you leave the area, then you've transitioned to another area. Basically, so your thoughts in this area are still in that area. They're going to stay in that area. So if you go through the threshold into another area, you've wiped the slate clean. So you know how when people go into a room?
That would explain some shit.
Yeah, you know how when you go into a room, like, I forgot why I came in here.
Yes.
That's exactly what's happening because you thought about that idea in that room, in the room that you were before. But as you walk through the threshold into another environment, you've wiped the slate clean and you just boom. Wait, why did I come in here? Yeah.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Now I know, because there's a poem that I'm writing in the back of my head, and now I need to go sit in the parking lot of my friend's daughter's Catholic middle school just to get this damn poem out. Because I was writing in the back of my head when I was waiting to go in for the graduation, and I'm thinking about it. The poem is going to be called something like Sorry for the Mess. And I make the metaphor of like my car, I need to clean out that car. It's bad. There's trash everywhere. I get shit about it all the time. So like anytime someone gets in my car and they're just, you can see that they're visibly uncomfortable. Like, oh, push it to the back. Just shove it to the back. And I make the comparison of like the mess in my head where there's so much of it and I push it to the back, but you can only do that so much. There's only so much room in there. You know, it's a skull. It's not outer space. It's a concrete area. There's so much square room in there to the point where it's going to spill over. And I think I said something like, as the driver, it is my responsibility to clean out the clutter to ensure that my passengers are not subjected to a mess they didn't make, which is kind of like don't bleed on people who didn't cut you. So like, but now I need to go to that damn Catholic school parking lot and just sit in the parking lot. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to sit in the parking lot, not in the car, but in the parking lot, just me and my laptop, and people are going to be like, are you about to make a circle, if you know what I mean? I'm like, no. I'm just writing a poem. And they're like, all right, crazy.
Yeah. The layers of that, what you just told me just now, and that how you constructed that poem, and how thoughts and imagery in your head works for you to be like, this is how this poem is going to go, and to take you from one level to another level. The inception of what you just did to me just now, I was like, that's exciting. I almost went on an acid trip. That's what it kind of felt like to me. I was like, oh, this had layers. This got deep, Sarah.
It's like an ogre.
That.
Ogre's got layers.
Yeah. Ogre's like parfaits. No. It's like, I love that. He's like an onion. Blooming onion. Anyway. Fuck yeah, Sarah. That's what I'm talking about. See? That's why I talk to these. That's talent. It just oozes. It oozes from creativity, and the people that I talk to, just because, man, we are all like-minded people, besides the normies.
Oh, yeah. Screw the normies. They're muggles. They're muggles. We're the wizards.
Yes.
We're the wizards, Harry.
All right. Now, before we get out of here, I like to do this with every person that I get on the podcast. When it's their first time, I like to give them we play a game of choices.
Okay.
Okay, you got 4 options and 4 choices.
Hit me.
All right? Now you got to be one, raise one, sell one, and then have relations with the other one.
Okay.
Okay? And your choices are mermaid, a mogwai, a Mexican, and a manatee.
The second one, I'm going to be honest, I don't know what that is.
Oh, okay. Mogwai?
What's that?
Gizmo.
Gizmo?
Yes, Gizmo's actually he's making a resurgence. He's there's a show on HBO, Netflix, or something like that about Gizmo now, and I'll show you what Gizmo is.
Gotcha.
In just a second. And you know what a manatee is?
Oh, of
sea
course.
cows. Okay, good.
Sea
good.
cow.
And this is Gizmo. Gizmo Gremlin. That's Gizmo.
Oh, that thing.
That's a mogwai.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I remember that thing. My friend's daughter made me watch that movie.
Yes.
And she was 5 years old. I was 24.
Oh.
She had to hold my hand.
Oh.
She had to hold my hand.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay. No, it's not. That thing's going to crawl through the TV like Samara from The Ring. And then we're going to have a situation. And then your mom's going to have to understand the concept of, I'm not watching that kid anymore.
Yeah. That movie is, at my age, it did. Yeah, it's kind of scarring.
Oh, yeah.
It is. Yeah, but that's what a mogwai is. So you got a mermaid, mogwai, Mexican, and a manatee. Be one, raise one, sell one, relations with the other one.
Okay. Be one, sell one, raise one, relationships?
Yes.
Okay. I would be a Mexican.
Okay.
I would sell the gremlin.
Okay, selling the mogwai, black market, getting a lot of money. You
Definitely.
Good. Yeah.
I would have relationships with a mermaid because women.
Lovely. Yeah. Mer people, Netflix.
Yeah,
Check it out.
exactly. And I mean, hey, I apparently I vibe well with the water signs, so you
Hello.
know. And then I would raise. Is it raise?
Manatee?
Yeah, I'd raise the manatee.
Yeah. Okay, that was quick. That was really good. You were straight to it. Some people have a difficult time. It's
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've had somebody on here like the last 20 minutes was like, all right, so I'm a wait.
They think they overthink it.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Oh, because there's certain stipulations depending on what you got. If some people want to be a mermaid, if you're a mermaid having relations with a mogwai, mogwais can't get wet unless if they do get wet, then the other gremlins pop out, and you can't feed them after midnight or you'll cause a whole world epidemic, and you got to be careful with that. But so it all depends on how you're gonna do it. And some people say, well, I can't be a mermaid because, like, how am I gonna have relations with a Mexican if I'm a mermaid? And it's like, well, Jason Momoa's a mermaid, and they're like, oh shit. Okay, so then like, well, hold on, let me do this over again. And, and there's so many avenues that you can take it. The last person, Will, shout out Will, he said he was gonna be a mermaid married to a Mexican so they can have good fiesta dishes, and I am ruining it, but he went on a tangent that, oh my God, like, and he said, yeah, we're gonna have beautiful, like, you got to go back and listen to Will Loden explain his be one, raise one, sell one, fuck one. His game of choice is just amazing. I'm like, I ain't never had somebody take it that deep before.
Man.
Like, he had certain dishes for certain days for, with the
I gotta
kids.
listen to this.
Oh, it was really good. It was really good. I haven't put that one out yet, but, these are all backlog, so, keep on listening. But, yeah, man, let everybody know where they can find you at, Sarah.
So you can find me on Instagram at Sarah Tonin 621. That is SarahTonin 621, which is my birthday's coming up.
Oh, nice.
Gemini Cancer cusp, baby. It's that way. I'm gonna be 26. Oh my God, I'm turning 26.
Hello.
Real adulthood's coming.
That past that quarter of a century now.
Oh,
so,
yeah. My kneecaps are already feeling it.
Oh, yeah?
The prefrontal cortex, that bitch is doing just fine.
It's developed right now, huh?
It's the kneecaps.
Oh, you know
They
what?
hurt.
It's like a conveyor belt after 25. Those
Really?
numbers just keep going up after that. And they don't stop. Yeah, they just keep going. It's like, well, what happened to 26? Oh, shit, 28's here? Oh, 28 was nice. What happened to that? Oh, shit, 32's here? Oh, that was nice. What happened to that? And just shoof, shoof, shoof.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh, my
it's
God.
cool, though. You're probably going to stay like this for a very long time, though. I've stayed like this for quite some time. The stress is coming, though. As you can see, there's little grays popping out.
Where?
There's some of them, I don't know. I got the bun up, so you might not be able to see it.
That's called imagination, honey.
Yeah, I got
no
a good
gray.
imagination. It's one of them. I can't really find it at the moment, but I know it's coming. My mama and my daddy got all gray. My brother, he gray. He 42. And it's like, it just runs in the family. I know if I stay less stressed, though, all of them got kids, and I ain't got none yet. So
I hear that.
Hence why I don't have the grays like they got the grays.
That's understandable. My dad had me at 37 when bald very quickly. Then again, he had one kid. I'm an only child, and I think that was on purpose.
Whoa.
Because I had the personality of like 6 kids.
I can imagine.
All different like neurodivergencies. And I think they
Yes.
took one look at me and said, no, we're too old for that.
It's one and done. Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, thank you, Sarah. This was fun. You know how we've been
Thank
on?
you.
We've been on here for hour 10.
Damn.
Yeah, I told you. It just be happening. So,
Yeah, we just get going. We don't
vibing.
stop.
Yeah, that's what happens when you got like minds, man. People in the same realm. The energy just feeds off each other.
Exactly.
Well,
Time
hell
flies
yeah,
when you're having
man.
fun.
Well, this has been Tell Me a Joke, the guideline and Chasing the Dream. I'm your host, the Maniacal Menace Cosman. Say the whole thing like a pimp named Slickback. And keep dreaming, jokers.